Hi everyone, I'm Elizabeth Heinz and welcome to another edition of Coast Connections. What has 800 seats, is almost 20 years old, held 250 events last year, attended by almost 100,000 people. We're here today to talk about the Port Theatre here in Nanaimo serving central Vancouver Island. And to walk us through what's new at the Port Theatre, we have Lindy Sisson, the Interim General Manager. Welcome, Lindy.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. It's wonderful to be on your show and to be here in Nanaimo.
Very good. And yes, you are new to the island, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
So new to the Port Theatre, new to the island. You're here to bring some new life to the arts and entertainment lineup. And we're going to go through that here, what's happening in the next few months at the Port.
Yes.
Interesting. And the first thing that's coming up, Lindy, is the Classical Coffee Concert. Talk to us a little bit about that, about the piano duo.
So at the Port Theatre, we're a rental venue as well as the Port Theatre Society presents our own Spotlight series. And so the Classical Coffee Concert series is part of that, and it takes place in our lobby. So it provides a wonderful, intimate atmosphere for classical music. And you get to play hooky from work or start your day on it's a Tuesday mornings, and there's coffee and treats. There's 4 concerts in the Classical Coffee Concert season, and 2 of them are before Christmas and 2 afterwards. We start with piano opera with the Bergman Piano Duo, who are the hosts of the whole series, and that is on October the 3rd. And they'll be playing music from your favorite operas that maybe you don't even know they're operas. So the music is transposed for piano, and things like Mozart's Magic Flute and Rossini's Barber of Seville to Liszt's virtuosic fantasy of Bellini's Sonnambula. Doesn't that sound exotic? Yes.
Exotic.
So that's the first one. The second one is featuring the most wonderful clarinetist, Francois Houle. And he is known for being a wizard and a versatile improviser on the clarinet. And they will be playing different works in the Cuban repertoire as well as jazz and classical music. And that one's on November the 28th.
So, Lindy, this is with the 2 dueling pianos, and then the clarinet.
It's 1 piano and two performers, okay. Elizabeth and now I'm going to forget. It just always says the Bergman Duo. Marcel, yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes, and they actually program this series, and they took it over from Sarah Hagen, who started this, and it tours various communities in BC, including the Arts Centre where I just came from.
Very good. And also internationally, they've traveled around the world as a couple. She's actually from Medicine Hat, I understand, and he's from Germany. So they met, their musical paths crossed, and they've been collaborating ever since.
So they're brilliant to see on their own, and then they bring in guests as well.
Very nice. So there's 4 in that series that takes us through till I think March.
Yes, the next 2 are March 27th, Primavera, which is just the duo, and then on April 17th we have Onalia Gilbertson, who is an incredible vocalist. She's performed on Broadway and is also a wonderful actress and a writer, and they're going to be doing music of Bertolt Brecht and Kurt Weill. So it's actually going to be like a cabaret in the morning.
That's exciting. So these all take place at 10:30 in the morning,
yes,
this series.
That's right, on Tuesdays.
Yeah, how fun. Now, can a person just buy one instead, or do you have to buy the whole 4 series?
You can buy one or the whole thing, yeah. And as a membership as well, there's different ways you can access the programming. You can pick and choose your performances.
And we're going to talk a little bit about membership after we go through the lineup here and benefits of it. And Leash, your potential.
Leash your potential. Yeah, that's hard to say.
It is.
So that is part of the Offstage series, which happens in the lobby, but in the evenings. And so some of you may know that the Port Theatre is looking to build a new studio theatre in the future. So we thought we'd try a few lobby shows in the evening to whet people's appetite for smaller productions that are wonderful to see, but would get lost in an 800-seat theater.
Right.
And
A more intimate environment.
Yeah, and the Fringe Festival just used our lobby
Yes.
this summer, and that worked out very well. They used the same setup in the lobby. So the first show is a solo show by Ryan Gunther.
He's a comedian.
He is
Yeah,
a comedian, and he is doing a spin on modern corporate jobs. So it's called Leash Your Potential. It's on Thursday, October the 12th. And the Vancouver Sun called this deeply cynical and deeply funny. So, you know, if you're stuck in a office in a suit, this is the perfect show for you to come out and laugh at yourself in the corporate world and find out what Ryan is going to share with us about his 15 years in that scenario.
It's corporate cubicle survival 101.
Yes, perfect, yeah.
That sounds like fun.
It should be. And actually the lineup this year is quite comedic in focus.
Good. We need more laughter in this
We
world.
do. We definitely do. The next one is The Merkin Sisters, which has one of my favorite actresses from BC in it, Ingrid Hansen. She's from Victoria. And her company is called Snafu Dance Theatre. But this one is performed by Ingrid and Stephanie Morin Roberts, and it's called The Merkin Sisters. And it's for 14 plus. And that's on Monday, December the 18th. And there's a cute little thing. It says, imagine the Olsen twins meets Grey Gardens meets the Muppets. So this is really going to be fun. I had to look up Grey Gardens. Apparently it's a film about a mother and daughter living in a mansion but in poverty. So this one though is sisters, and they're trying to leave the house for the first time in a decade as they risk everything to present their ultimate work of art. So I think we should find out what that is. And the picture in the brochure of this series is of the Merkin sisters. So,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, that's going to be really fun.
The Smirkin' Merkins. That sounds great.
And then after Christmas, we have My First Sony by Roy Horowitz, which is going to be a little more serious. It's an award-winning one-man show, which tells the gut-wrenching story of the deterioration of an Israeli's family from a child's eye view. So that will be, I think, very interesting show.
Pretty, politically charged drama,
And it was beautifully crafted and performed was one of the reviews of it. And I think that's one of the beauties of seeing a show in the lobby is being so close to the actor and having that intimate experience of storytelling and also the craft of good playwriting and acting.
Yes, it's a different connection for the performers as well as for the audience to be in that close setting like that. So, yeah, good. It sounds really good.
And the last one is Marrow. This is Resounding Scream Theatre in association with Alley Theatre. So they're working on this show together, again of two sisters. This time two estranged sisters, a witchcraft historian and a bulimia survivor, begin a ritual. So we have to find out what that ritual is in this show called Marrow on Wednesday, March the 28th. And of course, there's lots more information in this wonderful brochure and on our website.
porttheatre.com.
Yes.
All kinds of information there for viewers to browse. Very good. And the circus is also coming to town.
The circus is coming to town,
Yes.
and this might be my fault.
Are you going to be running away with the circus?
So
Elise?
I did not program this season because I've only just started here.
Yes.
And before we started, we were talking a little bit about programming cycles. So it does, I'm now working on the 18-19 programming. So this programming was done by the staff last year, but they had a few holes to fill, and they're trying to start a contemporary circus audience. Last year, they brought in Cuisines and Confessions by the company Sept Doigts de la Main from Quebec, and it was an amazing experience. So I thought, well, we should program something of West Coast Circus so that we can also support our own circus community here in BC.
Didn't know we had one.
We
There you
do,
go.
but it is just not supported like it is in Quebec. So because I was from the Vancouver International Children's Festival before, I have a love for circus, and I've worked with some of these performers before. And Circus Squared is what we've called it.
Interesting
It's
name.
an evening of West Coast Contemporary Circus with Cause and Effect Circus. They're doing the New Conformity, which actually kind of resonates with our Leash Your Potential, because it's a circus take on, our animated lives and our scheduled lives. And, one of the performers doesn't necessarily want to go along with the other two. So some very interesting scenarios come out of this. It's primarily a juggling show, and they are excellent jugglers.
Juggling and storytelling.
Juggling
combined?
and storytelling.
Now
So
that's
it's a
an
fringe
interesting
theater
take.
production,
Yeah.
and there's a storyline and brilliant juggling as well. So that's the first half.
That's interesting. And Lindy, the second circus act that's coming is?
That is the Underground Circus, who I also worked with at the Children's Festival. And they were developing a new contraption. Peter Belanger is the artistic director, and he is known for creating structures for the acrobats to play and perform on. And he's created a half-moon shaped piece called Alice, and it rocks back and forth on the stage, and the performers are all hanging off of it and doing amazing things that just will blow you away. Yes, I did present it last year at the ACT Arts Center, and the audience was on the edge of their seats the whole
that
time.
sounds so good.
And he's called the piece Equilibrium Fugue. And this is because it explores the complex themes of equilibrium in movement and stillness through dance, theater, high risk, and artistic acrobatics.
Art acrobatics. Yeah.
That's hard to say.
With a huge moon. That's going to be exciting to see that.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lovely combination. So I hope people start to go to more contemporary circus, because I'm working on another one for the following year. And it's something that adults don't think of going to the circus. They always think of just bringing their kids. But it's a art form that is really developing and producing some exciting shows.
Well, it's a different circus than our grandparents' circus. It's a totally different take, isn't it? I mean, you don't have the elephants to clean up after and that kind of thing. Yeah.
No.
So contemporary circus. This sounds very
And it's
exciting.
all about people, and also a lot more about the dynamic of performance and theme in the show.
And this obviously won't be in the lobby, because you need
No,
a big
this
space.
is in the big space. So I'm looking forward to seeing it on the Port stage. It's such a beautiful theater, really.
Yes, it's very well designed, isn't it? the
We
Port?
started the season with Ballet BC, and to see a full ballet company on the stage for my first performance there was just thrilling. I also saw the National Youth Orchestra when they were here earlier, and that was amazing. The acoustics in the theater are so good, and they're not lying when they say there's not a bad seat in the house.
No, it's true.
No.
It's very, very true. It's a jewel, the Port Theatre is, yeah. Tanya Tagak from Inuvik.
Yes.
Yes.
So the Port Theatre has a really wonderful history of bringing in First Nations performers, and Buffy St. Marie was one of the recent ones, and the warm-up act for her was William Prince. Yes. And so he is going to be on this bill as well, and I would say that he's brought back truly by popular demand. So he will open the show, and then we get the thrill of Tanya Tagak. Now, she is an Inuit throat singer, but her music, I'm going to read this so that I get it right. Her unique vocal expression may be rooted in Inuit throat singing, but her music has as much to do with electronica, industrial, and metal influences as it does in traditional culture. So I think this is one for young people that they should really try out as well. Traditionally, there is an audience that has, gone to the theater and aged over the years, but we want to get young people in the theater too. Absolutely. Because the live experience is really something that is beyond your television, tablets, and whatever.
Get off your Facebook
there's
and
lots
get
of
into the
entertainment,
theater.
but that connection with artists is something I can't recommend enough.
That's a real social connection. And Tanya Tagak and also William Prince, both Juno Award-winning Canadian artists. So this is top-notch performers that you're bringing in. And she's Inuit and he's First Nations, I believe, as well.
October 18th.
Okay. And Collectif Neuf.
Collectif Neuf, yes. So they're from Montreal, and they are a cutting-edge, boundary-pushing, internationally acclaimed 9-piece classical string band from Montreal. They're known for energizing, innovative arrangements of classical repertoire. Now, I've just got to see a performance at a showcase in Seattle of this remarkable group.
I want your job.
And yeah, that's the fun part of the job, for sure. And you know, now seeing them live, I really can say that they should have a crossover audience. Their repertoire is of great interest to our classical lovers already, and the arrangements and the way that they perform attract younger audiences to it. It brings energy to classical music like you've never seen before. So yeah, it should also hopefully find a pop culture interest as well. It's difficult for classical music to get appreciated by a broader audience, but I think this is the group to do it.
That fusion that'll help people, be introduced to that genre.
So that one's on November the 10th.
Okay. Easy to remember, just before Remembrance Day.
Yes.
And of course, Winter Harp,
Winter
a perennial
Harp
favorite.
Is back. Yes, they took a bit of hiatus last year, so we're very happy to have them back for 2 shows. But for those who don't know what Winter Harp is, this is a show that often sells out. So if you haven't seen it, you should, get on the box office right away. For 24 years, they have been performing an ensemble of harps, medieval instruments. Flutes, violin, percussion, and singers brought the joy and meaning of Christmas to tens of thousands of people. So it's quite the experience, and it becomes a family tradition for a lot of people.
And it's such a spectacle with the costumes and instruments that you've never heard before.
It's beautiful.
It's a really beautiful production.
I can tell. Have you been before?
Yes.
Good.
It's a treat.
Great.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see that it's coming back this year. And let's talk a bit about, bringing youth, next generation to the theatre. Let's talk a little bit about the new youth and student pricing, and the I Go to the Arts.
Right. So I Go to the Arts is for high school students, so grades 8 to 12 here, and the tickets are only $5. So the idea is that, just as you go to the library or the pool, we want youth to get used to coming to the theater, buying the ticket, having that experience, and knowing that they're welcome, that it's accessible, and then it becomes a part of the culture of their life, including going to the theater and what you do. And it's a wonderful program. Yeah, and there's much more information on the website about the whole IGO thing, because it's a national program. Not all theaters are able to participate in it, but the Port Theatre is really dedicated to bringing youth into the theatre.
Very nice. Is that co-funded by any federal grants or anything? How
I'm
the
afraid
$5 pricing?
I'm too new to answer that question,
that's...
but I bet there's a sponsor behind this, and I'm
Yes.
sorry, I wish I knew off the top of my head who that was.
It's nice to know that Nanaimo's participating in that national program. Again, nice, beautiful exposure for young people to the arts. Yeah.
Now at the ACT, we had $15 tickets for students. We weren't able to do the $5 because we didn't find a sponsor. But what we did was expand it to 24 and under, or anyone with a student ID. So I brought this idea to the Port because we want youth to come to the theater. So the youth ticket prices are ranging from $12.50 to $17.50, and they're available to youth 24 years and under, or a valid student ID. So you can actually be older than that as a student and still get in for those prices.
So if I'm if I'm 48 years old and a student up at VIU,
and you've got an ID.
Got an ID.
Yes.
I can get me and my kids in for a reduced price.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah, that's good.
That is very good.
Yeah.
Fill those seats, those 800 seats. And again, it's the younger generation. You want them building an appetite for arts and entertainment and culture.
Yes.
And what a nice way to get them in the door and start that.
And you have to make it accessible.
You do, exactly.
Yeah.
Great. And how can we help to support the Port Theatre, Lindy?
Well, I think the biggest win-win is if you become a member.
And let's also remember that this is a not-for-profit
Yes.
organization. Exactly.
Yes.
I don't think people really are that aware of that.
It's a city-owned facility, and we have an operating agreement to run the facility. And as a nonprofit society, our mandate is that we should also program and support the community. We have many community partnerships with the Vancouver Island Symphony, Theatre One, Crimson Coast Dance, fundraiser coming up with the John Howard Society. And
Can I
so
also add that also Shaw TV is a major sponsor of the Child Development Center Telethon that is happening once again this year at the Port Theatre. So it's a really nice partnership with Shaw TV and the Port Theatre. So
yeah, because we're
you.
a society that has, you know, a mandate, we're not just, it's not just a roadhouse. It's not just a rental venue. There's much more to it than that. We really appreciate people becoming members to support us in what we're doing and programming Canadian performers and some international performers that you might not otherwise see here. I mean, the Port Theatre, because of its location and its seating size, you guys get lots of great promoters bringing in great acts. So that's an awesome thing too. But if you become a member, you get advance notice of those acts. They go on sale to our members first. And in our brochure and on the website, you'll see that with membership, you can also, there's a little chart here, which shows if you buy more shows, you get more discounts. So that's probably not a good
that's great. Yeah. And also birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas presents, you know, tickets.
That's a great idea.
What a great thing to give. I mean, everybody's got enough, you know, stuff.
So membership is only $30. As I mentioned, you get the ticket discounts, pre-sale privileges, email notices, and voting privileges at our AGM.
Very good.
And you can also donate. We are a charity.
Yes.
Yeah. So donations receive tax receipts. So that's also a win-win.
Very good. And you can become a volunteer. 150 volunteers you have there.
We have a wonderful volunteer corps, and it's a great experience, you know. And the volunteers are very loyal. Some of them have been there since the very beginning, and we're also wanting to introduce new people to volunteering. And we have a new volunteer program for youth. And yes, you have the 30-hour requirement of volunteering. So for high school. So why not volunteer at the Port Theatre and have a really fun experience learning about event production?
And behind the scenes, what happens, and with all these different events. Now, if you're a volunteer, do you get a discount on any of the performances, or?
I can't answer that question either, but there are benefits to volunteering, and sometimes I'm sure we offer tickets, or there is
there's more information about that at porttheatre.com, so people can find that out.
Yeah.
Very good, Lindy. Now, a little bit about your background, because tell us about your experience as the director of the Children's Festival, International Children's Festival.
I come from Alberta. And I was lucky enough to run the Edmonton International Children's Festival and the Teen Festival at the Citadel Theatre. And then when I moved to BC, I was a tour manager for a dance company for a while, and I had my two wonderful children. And then the job at the Vancouver International Children's Festival came up. And because I had run the one in Edmonton, I was blessed with, or honored with that job. And the Children's Festival is just an amazing experience. At that time, it was on Vanier Park. Now it's on Granville Island. It's a tough job. You have to raise $1 million a year, but the most to subsidize the tickets so that it's still accessible for youth. But the best part was being able to curate the shows that children and youth would see and bring the world to Vancouver. So that still informs my aesthetic when I'm looking for work to bring to audiences. So, you know, being new to Nanaimo, I'm looking forward to learning the audience here and seeing, you know, what they're interested in. And after the Children's Festival, I was at the ACT Theatre for 8 years. So there I got to expand from youth programming to all ages and all genres, but as well at the Children's Festival, we presented most genres: dance, theater, music,
Wow.
circus.
Lindy, well, you come with such a vast and wonderful, broad background. We're just so happy to have you here at the Port Theatre and enhancing the programs that are going to be coming in. And it's such a jewel here on the central Vancouver Island, and I think you're just the person to take it to the next level.
Thank you. Well, I'm really looking forward to learning more about the arts community here and you know, being of service in the best way that I can here on Nanaimo territory.
Very good. Thank you very much, Lindy. We look forward to being at the Port Theatre and seeing a lot of the wonderful acts that are coming up. Get your tickets. A lot of them sell out really quickly in advance. So go on to porttheatre.com and get your tickets and your gift tickets now. So thanks for joining us today. And I've been talking with Lindy Sisson, the new Interim General Manager of the Port Theatre here in Nanaimo. Thank you.